Good morning and welcome to this week's episode of Cooking with Your Librarian. And this week we're back at the Central Library. So great to be back. And today I'm going to be in the garden with our fabulous gardener Beaufort. She'll be joining us today to talk about what's going on in the garden at Central. So we're open now Monday through Friday from 10 to 6 and Saturday from 10 to 4, so come see us. All of the city locations are open, and many of the other locations will be opening too, so we hope to see you soon. So you're not stepping into my kitchen this week, but I guess I could say step into my garden. Already, so many things are blooming so beautifully in the garden. Those gorgeous peonies back there. And even our kids' garden from last year is still looking so lush. We've had so much rain. And the center garden is looking so gorgeous as well. A little walk around here. Beautiful mural across the street on the building, part of the Albright Knox project. And folks, it is definitely the most beautiful day in our neighborhood. And our reading park is looking gorgeous as ever as well. Kind of quiet on a Tuesday morning. But you can come and sit at a distance and enjoy some reading. And there she is. Good morning, Beaufort.
Hi, Nancy.
So here we are in the garden with Beaufort, and she's going to tell us some interesting things about the garden. So I know you've been working at it for a few weeks, Beaufort, getting things set. So just tell us a little bit about what you're working on these days to make the garden look so beautiful.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll say that when I came back to work after the lockdown, this garden was a lush mass of green for sure. But you couldn't see all the flowers and things. I had to do a lot of thinning. I've done quite a bit to try to get it back in shape, and of course there were plenty of weeds growing happily also. So now I'm just working more on the fine tuning. For example, I'm going to do some deadheading on these phlox, these woodland phlox that were a lovely bluish color, purple blue flower for quite a while.
So what's the purpose of deadheading?
Well, different reasons. These will go to seed somewhat, which I don't actually mind, but right now I'm going to be bringing in some annuals for this bed. As you can see, it has a lot of bare space and it's still a little weedy looking. This bed, normally all the beds are filled with perennials that have been coming back very happily. But this bed was supposed to be for the children's seedlings.
Oh, yes.
Children's
Children's garden. Yeah.
So I'm now going to fill in the bare spots with some annuals. And when they come in, these seed heads, which I actually think are kind of pretty, but not everybody likes them, are going to block some of the little seedlings that I'm bringing in. So I'm just cutting it back to the base where it's quite green, and then it'll be a ground cover for the rest of the summer.
Then when will those flower again, potentially?
They won't flower again until next spring.
Oh, okay.
These are an early spring flower.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just making.
So then did they bloom already then and we missed it?
They're done. Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple here. You can see what it looked like. The one in the pot. That was covered with these kinds of these little blossoms. This is a little thin because it's in a pod, but on the ground, and we had it scattered all over the garden. Lots of little lush bunches of flowers like that. It's a really nice plant. It's woodland phlox divaricata. But it will grow in a garden as well as the woods, not just the woods. But anyway, I'm just cutting back the seed heads really for visual effect right now. It won't look so good until I put the other plants in, but that's the idea. For example, that fennel right here.
Oh yeah, look at
That's
that.
fennel. That seeds look mad.
Is that fennel you can eat?
The seeds, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, you can eat you can eat the herb itself too. You can taste it if you like. Smell it.
Nice fennel.
But the seeds are what's usually used for that kind. And then there's a close relative called that's used as a vegetable where the base of the stem gets very thick. If you're an Italian.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's what I'm wondering. Is it that one?
No, it's a cousin. It's a first cousin.
Okay, first cousin. We Italians, we know about
Actually, no,
cousins.
It's a sibling. It's closer to
What's
that.
a sibling?
They're the same plant, just a different variety of the same plant. So it's like a sibling.
Nice. Looks so nice and neat now. Now I noticed there's some plants behind.
Yes.
That little one with the little yellow flower. Is that a flower?
This is going to be a yellow flower like that.
Okay.
These are sundrops.
So how do you know what's a flower and what's a weed?
Oh, a weed is simply a plant growing in the garden where I don't want it to be.
Okay.
For example, this is a native wildflower, more in the Midwest. That it's not native to this because it's not a woodland plant. We were originally all woods.
Uh-huh.
This is native to the area, this phlox. This is native farther west. And they're called sundrops, although they're actually a type of evening primrose.
Oh, nice.
Most evening primrose open at night, but this one opens in the day.
And that's what these are here then, right?
And
These
I've got them all
all
the
over.
garden.
Oh, they're so beautiful.
When I got here 3 weeks ago, these things, they are very good spreaders. They spread by underground stems, stolons.
Oh, okay.
These were everywhere in the garden, so you couldn't see any of the other plants.
Wow.
So I thinned them all back to, manageable clumps. And then I saved them to put somewhere else.
So you had mentioned that when you got here, everything was green. So just in a few weeks, all of these things just bloomed like
Well,
crazy?
no, things were blooming, like these were in full bloom when I
Oh,
got
okay.
here. These and the columbine. There are a few little blossoms left. But
Oh,
this
those are
was
so-
covered with
those
the
are
red
so
and yellow
pretty.
blossoms. This and the phlox were blooming in May. Well, they start in April, I guess. They bloom a long time, so they're great early spring plants. And columbine is a vigorous reseeder, so this plant was not planted here, nor this one, nor this one.
How did they get there?
From over there.
The seeds just flew?
The seeds just scatter and blow around, and I love that because it's such a pretty plant and it's so nice, and it's not unlike this, which gets too thick, so I keep thinning it out. These I just let go because they're so delicate and they don't take up a lot of space and they pop up in the most interesting places. So I'm now including columbine in this particular bed, which I had not done originally.
So if somebody had this growing in their yard and wanted to transplant it purposefully, how would they go about doing that?
With lots of water and a shovel.
So do they just dig it out at the roots kind of thing?
Yeah,
Or
dig it up, find your new spot, plant it, give it lots of water because it'll wilt. Unless it's early spring or fall, late fall, then you can transplant things. That's why they say transplant or plant in early spring and late fall because the air is cold. The roots are not so shocked by being dug up. You still need to water when you do it, but nothing like if I day, I'd be dumping water on it all day today, all day tomorrow.
So is it best not to do transplanting then in the dead of summer when it's really warm?
It's best, but I certainly do it because I want to keep the garden going. I have a spot in the garden here that I'm not really happy with the overall design. When you walk up to this, you see a lot of tall things going across, and that's all you see is kind of the same thing. You don't see any textural changes particularly, even though they're not the same plants. So my thought is something that would look different, like a number of things that are over there that were put in here would sort of would break up the sameness of that look. And I might do that sometime this week or in the next few weeks when I figure out what plant I want to put in.
So when you say sameness, do you mean the height, the color, the texture?
In this case, it's the texture and height, because the texture is sort of upright, spiky, or even with the balls on top, it's still the same look of, it's just, that's all you see. You don't see the lower plants. So I would move some of these things and put something else in there, and I might dig up something in the garden which I think would work, which I haven't figured out yet, and transplant it, which is not a wise thing to do at this time, unless we get a cold snap. The last 2 days, the last 3 or 4 days actually. So I'll probably wait on that if I'm going to transplant, because I'm probably not going to get something new this season for that. But anyway, that answers your question about when to transplant. Generally, when it's cold. But if you're desperate to transplant something, go ahead and do it. But just plant to dump lots and lots of water on. I'm getting to that shrub that I told you about. Right now, the seed heads from the blossoms that are already finished, the seed heads are really pretty, and they're good for birds and whatever. So I don't want to cut them off, but I'd like to cut back a lot of this new green growth, because it's again, we're talking about a combination of function and aesthetics. The reason I cut that back was partly aesthetic over there. The reason I'm doing this right now is also aesthetic, but if I don't do it, this is function, this shrub will get way too tall for this garden. And what I do is just selectively prune out branches. I try to go back to, I either take out a whole branch, which I did here, or if I don't want the whole branch out, I will go back, you know what, I'll put on my mask and come up close so I can show you. Here I'm going to go back, I'm not going to take out the whole branch down to here, I'm going to go back halfway down the branch to a leaf node. So where the leaf comes out, that's a node.
Okay.
And then what will happen there is it'll put out a new branch here that will come out, and it'll, you know, so I didn't want to take away the whole branch because then it would be too bare here. So stopping the tall growth, the tall upright growth, I want it to be lacy, I want it to be bushy as opposed to stalky.
So then all of those taller ones in the middle, will you cut all those down pretty much today then?
Yeah, to some degree, yes. So here I'm going to take out a whole branch, or a big chunk of a branch.
And what is that bush called?
Oh, this is a 9-bark. Lysocarpus folius.
Oh boy.
I think it's called 9-bark because the bark on the older stems exfoliates, right? And that's considered an ornamental property also. Anyway, right now I'm thinning things out because it gets too dense. And like I pointed to it from the other side, it just gives that sort of density of green that is very visually exciting. And I'm I'm taking out whole branches and spots, and others I'm just cutting back. So.
And then all of these things you're trimming out, do you have a compost pile somewhere, or what do you do with them?
Not here. Really tend a compost pile, but I have one elsewhere, so I do take everything for compost.
Awesome.
This plant is bee balm. It has beautiful red flowers. It's in the mint family, but I'm sure people are familiar with. Some people are familiar with it. It attracts hummingbirds beautifully, but it's another plant that's going to get too tall and just fall over if I don't tend it. So what I do right now is I cut it back much the way I was doing with the shrub, even though this is a perennial, and then it will branch out and be a shorter, bushier plant. I do that with a lot of the perennials here, just so they don't, like, I've got asters. If I left them alone, they'd be up to here, and they'd have ugly stalks at the bottom. So I cut them short throughout the season, and then they turn into a nice bush and lots of beautiful purple blooms in the fall.
What is that flower right there, that tall purple one?
That's an allium. It's in the onion family.
Oh.
It's called flowering onion.
Oh, nice.
That one I don't cut back until it's done, and then I have a choice, and I can show you. Is there a finished one? Well, here. See these little green things?
Hold on, I'm going to zoom in on you there. What am I looking at?
See the green things mixed in with the flowers?
Yes.
Those are the seeds.
Ah.
So when the flowers fall off, the balls of seedlings will be there. If I wanted to spread, which it has been doing, it was not originally so much cut here. I just leave those seed heads up, and they're kind of ornamental. Anyway,
Very pretty,
they're
yeah.
like a piece of sculpture almost.
Right.
And then, but if I have too many, I'll cut the whole stem down, and then the leaves, these long, these are like tulips or daffodils or whatever. The leaves eventually die, but I don't cut them off while they're still green. Just like with the daffodils or the tulips, I let them die back naturally. So it's a little bit ugly in the garden, but usually other plants hide it.
And you let those die naturally because they're a bulb plant?
Because if I cut the leaves off while they're still green, there won't be enough nutrition through photosynthesis going into the bulbs, and I probably won't have a plant next year.
So
Or the
fascinating.
following year or whatever.
Who would have known? Not
Yes.
me.
So a lot of people who cut back their tulips because they think they're ugly when they, once they finish blooming.
But don't do that. Don't cut the tulips.
Right, because most people think tulips won't come back every year, and that's because they cut them down.
Oh boy.
And then they don't get enough nutrition to keep going. Here's one here. I can't have something that tall in this spot, so this one I thin and prune like a shrub, like I'm doing with the shrub, and it will spread out. And the flowers, I wish I had a picture to show you. Again, it blooms in the fall, the same time asters do. And they're close relatives in a way. They're a deep, bright purple, but they're very striking. It's just a very rich purple color. They're like, this whole thing is covered. All these branches are covered with these clusters of small purple flowers. I love this plant, actually.
Well, I love all the plants. I have to tell you, your gardens are so gorgeous.
And one reason I leave this tall thing up over the winter is, one, it looks sort of like a tree in the garden, so it adds structure in the winter. And two, the seed heads, they're all gone now, but these little seed heads, they're bigger during the winter, and they're pretty. They look almost like little flowers all winter long. So I leave it up for aesthetic reasons, I guess.
Beautiful.
And if there are any seeds left for the birds. Okay. Anyway, that is New York ironweed. Again, it's not exactly native to Erie County, but it's native in other parts of New York State, including other parts of upstate. Oh, I'm pruning the bee balm. Nice thing to take home for tea. Smell it.
Ooh. Oh, it smells very minty.
It actually smells like, oh, what's the thing? Bergamot.
Oh. So this is an edible herb, or?
Oh yeah, it's a medicinal and edible herb. It makes a lovely tea, and it smells like bergamot, which is what they flavor Earl Grey tea with. So you can mix that with your black tea and have Earl Grey.
Nice.
And then there's one other thing I'm constantly doing in the garden, and every gardener is probably familiar with this problem. Morning glory.
Oh yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, I think I have some of that in my garden too.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, and it kind of just attaches itself. It's got little attacher guys.
It wraps around everything, and I just rip it out whenever I see it. And I try not to rip it out across the flowers and break the flowers off.
Oh boy.
In the meantime, I will continue to thin out things where they're too thick and deadhead. And I have to get over on the two sides, which are kind of my wild gardens, and do a lot of thinning back there as well.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to check in with you again periodically if that's okay with you.
Sure.
And our patrons, if they have questions, I'm inviting them to send those this time through the Facebook post. And they may have some questions for you about maybe particular to their garden or more about what you're working on.
Right. Or if they have questions about the plants, I can answer those.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Beaufort. You're going to have a busy day ahead of you, but it's gorgeous. We have a gorgeous week. So good to be back with you again in person.
Well, thank you. It's good to see you back here.
If you want to see what materials we have in the library, you can come to the S and SB sections. We have loads and loads of beautiful books all about gardening. Thank you for joining us today in our garden at the Central Library. Please keep in mind that when you come into the building, you must have your mask on. We had our masks off, we were outside, we were distanced, but when you're in the building, you do need to have a mask on at all times for everybody's safety. But thanks again for coming in today. I'm gonna take my bee balm and take those home and dry them out and make some tea. And it's almost harvest time for everything, so we'll be talking about that more next week. And speaking of harvest, Warren, I think I'm gonna make pesto next week. My basil plants are going crazy, so hopefully next week I'll have a chance to tape something back in my kitchen, and I think we're gonna do pesto if the basil plants are ready. So thanks again for coming down to the library garden. Stay safe. Bye.